we're three adults. Well, I kind of include myself in that, sitting talking about this. But last night on Patrick's show, we broke the exclusive about the village of Piddington, tiny little village, sort of 250 population there, 46 kids live there, and the migration camp that were going to be built on the doorstep, 1,250 undocumented young men free to roam in this village. And the kids of this village actually wrote to the Prime Minister. Shall we have a look or a listen to what these children had to say?
To Andy Burnham, I like my village.
Well, there you go. This is GB News Originals. I'm Emily Carver. Please do give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And do leave a comment. Let me know what you think.
Exactly how it is, and I don't want it to be changed. Dear Prime Minister, I love a park in Piddington.
And Andy, there was one heartbreaking letter from 7-year-old Rex who wrote, "Dear Andy," to the Prime Minister, "We like our village because I and my family walk down to my sister's grave to see her. I worry I won't be able to do that anymore. My family has lived here for over 100 years. These are children. We're talking about their future, Barry. We're not talking about our futures. I mean, present company accepted. Joy is younger than both of us, Barry. But these children's futures, the kids are 7, 9, 11 years old. They're worried about their future. Yeah. And I honestly do not see anything being done about it.
Well, look.
You keep quoting figures to me. OK, well, net migration is down. But, I mean...
The point of a news programme, Dawn, is to impart facts.
Patronise me, Barry.
Well, you're patronising me by saying you
quote
figures.
You're not giving me honest figures, are you?
I'm giving you the honest figures.
Net migration. We're talking about illegal migration. These kids are worried about the young men coming across the channel in these boats. Women and girls are worried about these men coming across the channel.
Yeah. Let's talk about the children, because you
go on, please do.
OK. You know as well as I do that children don't just write to the Prime Minister. What happens is adults, and I saw the piece where the parents explained, and the mother was very good. She explained that they had tried to do it in an age-appropriate way to tell the children about what they feared and what was going to happen to the village. But I don't think actually it's right to use children in that way.
You think the children were being used by their parents to make a political point?
What I'm saying is I don't think it's right to get your children to write to the Prime Minister about an issue which is of real concern to you, because obviously they are influenced by what the parents say. Now, as I say, give the mother credit. She did it in an age-appropriate way. But you know that the children don't have full possession of the facts.
I think that's incredibly patronising.
Because I had a similar situation like this. I had a migrant accommodation that was going to come in, and it was right next to a school, and the children were terrified. The children, when I would go and speak to the school, they would tell me when they saw somebody sleeping rough, or they notice everything. And you know what? These mothers don't want their daughters to be raped or molested. A bunch of young men coming near a school, 100% I agree with them. I fought tooth and nail to stop that migration accommodation coming in because it was right near a school. My residents didn't want it. I fought it every inch of the way. I said, we don't have the ability to take them in. You're denying social housing to people who have been here their whole lives, who should be getting that social housing. That should go to hard-working British people who've been waiting for that social housing their whole lives. But no, it's going to go to a bunch of migrants. Those children are absolutely right. They want to protect their way of life. That's what I was fighting for in Farnham Common, to stop the accommodation coming in. And it's right that they protect their schools, that they protect their children. I want to protect children walking home, playing in the garden, going to see the grave of their child,
those people,
of their brother.
Those 1,250 people at the moment, they're already in our communities. They may not be in your community, certainly in my community, OK? I have hotels in my constituency where asylum seekers are currently, and the government is trying to do what it's promised to do, what this programme demanded the government did, which was to get them out of hotel accommodation. That's what we're doing by putting them into ex-army barracks, right? Now, you now say, well, you can't possibly put 1,000 men into what was an army barracks, which, of course, originally would have housed 1,000 men.
Some of these men are coming from places like Afghanistan where they treat women like vermin. They treat them, they rape them.
Joy,
and how are we going to combat that? Are we just going to roll over for the sake of multiculturalism and say it's fine that our children are raped, that they don't feel safe walking home from school? What is the breaking point? And also, we need to deal with the situation. If someone commits a crime and you're a foreign national, you need to be deported. There's none of this, oh, you're taking up prison space. You just need to go. And we have allowed this kind of insane level of, oh, let's just put everybody in. Everyone will be fine. There's parts of London that are happy and diverse, but there are other parts of the UK that have never had any diversity, and thrusting this upon them will ruin the whole character of the area. The actual people will be cast aside.
I get it, Joy. I get it. It's all right for my constituents, but it's not all right for yours. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying that my constituents, my children in the schools that attend those schools, they were afraid because they didn't want to have a bunch of migrant men lurking around the school, harassing the children, harassing the girls. I don't want to have to tell a mother that her child was raped because we had to allow a migrant accommodation. I never want to have that. I would rather fight this tooth and nail to the end to make sure that that's not in my area.
So let me just ask you this.
These are not migrants. These are not family refugees. These are not groups of families fleeing war-torn areas. This is migrant men.
Yep, go very quickly.
Sorry.
These are people who have not yet been processed through the system, okay, because of the failures of your government.
No, this is why the Conservatives want to make it illegal to claim asylum if you come here illegally to stop this.
Government now, how would you be able to put people back to the country they came from immediately, as you say, within a week? You couldn't do it unless you had the cooperation of the other states.
Okay,
That's
even
why
Germany,
the Home Secretary...
even Germany, Barry, which is part of the EU, is managing to put illegal migrants on planes and fly them back to Afghanistan.
Sorry. This Home Secretary has actually concluded a number of agreements with other countries to be able to deport people. I want to see her do more, but you have to do it with cooperation. If you don't actually have that, you can't get those people back to the country that you want.
Right.
So at the moment, you don't have the ability to do it. And
hence the reason we want to leave the ECHR and we want to revoke the Human Rights Act, because we need to be able to protect our borders, protect our citizens. Japan is protecting its citizens, Singapore, many, many, many countries. And actually, the reason Spain could take so many to Morocco is they're not part of the EU Schengen agreement. They're not part of the same agreement. So, they were able to strong arm taking everybody back. We need to be able to protect our borders. We need to be able to put our citizens first.
Okay, right.
Shadow government, or operational gridlock, inside the machinery shaping the new British political landscape. Welcome back to Britain Underneath, the place where we peel away the glossy soundbites of Westminster to look at the structural mechanics driving the nation. Before we unravel the complex gears currently turning behind closed doors, make sure you take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Your support directly helps us produce these deep breakdowns on a regular basis, so hitting that button ensures you stay ahead of the curve. Now, let us jump straight into the heart of the matter. To understand modern British governance, one must first abandon the comforting fiction that key policy decisions are forged purely within the green bench debates of the House of Commons. The reality is far more intricate, layered, and, frankly, quietly calculated. Across Whitehall, civil service directorates, advisory groups, and treasury committees operate a permanent machinery of state that often dictates the boundaries of what any elected politician can actually achieve. When a newly minted cabinet minister steps into their department, they are handed a thick red folder stuffed with briefing papers, structural constraints, and existing contractual obligations. What follows is a quiet battle between political ambition and institutional inertia. Consider the ongoing debates surrounding national infrastructure, energy grid expansion, and public sector expenditure. On the surface, parliamentarians exchange fierce barbs across the dispatch box, projecting an image of total ideological warfare. Yet, if you examine the working papers released by non-departmental public bodies, a completely different story emerges. Decisions regarding cross-regional rail links, housing density targets, and offshore energy concessions are frequently determined years in advance by risk assessment frameworks and long-term financial modelling. The political figurehead merely inherits the momentum of these institutional choices. This brings us to a crucial realization about the current political climate. The friction we observe between the cabinet, backbench committees, and executive agencies is not merely accidental administrative noise. It represents a fundamental tension between electoral promises and fiscal reality. Every major announcement regarding domestic taxation or civil reform must first pass through a crucible of independent audits, legal checks, and international market expectations. When a policy appears to stall or undergo a sudden dilution, it is rarely due to a sudden change of heart by leadership. Rather, it is the invisible hand of statutory governance asserting its veto. If you are finding this breakdown insightful, please take a quick breath, hit that subscribe button, and join our growing community here at Britain Underneath. Building this channel relies entirely on viewers who value thorough, analytical coverage, so subscribing truly makes a world of difference in helping us grow and deliver more unfiltered insights. Staying informed in an era dominated by 24-hour outrage requires looking past the curated headlines and examining the structural incentives driving our leaders. When fiscal policy shifts unexpectedly, the instinct of the political press is to focus on individual personalities, internal rivalries, and potential leadership challenges. While these human dynamics certainly add drama to the daily news cycle, they rarely explain the underlying mechanics. The true pressure points are almost always institutional. Demographic shifts impacting spending commitments, sovereign bond yield fluctuations altering borrowing capacity, and inherited statutory deadlines forcing legislative action. Take, for instance, the delicate balancing act between local council funding and central government oversight. Across the country, local authorities are navigating severe budgetary constraints, struggling to maintain primary services while fulfilling mandatory statutory duties. From the public gallery, this looks like a straightforward failure of local management or central funding allocation. However, an analysis of intergovernmental fiscal transfers reveals a far more systemic dilemma. Central government departments use complex funding formulas that distribute resources based on historical metrics, often failing to adapt to rapid population movements or localized economic pressures. The result is a slow-burning friction point that eventually erupts into local service cuts, leaving taxpayers wondering where the systemic failure actually originated. Furthermore, we must account for the growing influence of non-governmental advisory bodies and regulatory authorities. Whether considering environmental standards, digital trade regulations, or financial services compliance, arm's-length bodies hold immense authority over how laws are interpreted and enforced. A bill passed by Parliament may outline a broad intention, but the precise execution is crafted within executive agencies, far removed from democratic scrutiny. This delegation of power is essential for managing a complex modern state, but it inevitably creates a disconnect between what the public believes it voted for and how regulation operates on the ground. It is precisely this gap between political narrative and administrative execution that Britain underneath was created to illuminate. Navigating the quiet corridors of power requires patience, precision, and an eye for details that mainstream broadcasts simply skim over. By analysing primary reports, select committee transcripts, and statutory instruments, we can anticipate major policy turns weeks before they dominate the evening news. As we look toward the upcoming legislative calendar, several major structural debates are set to test the endurance of our political institutions. The balance between domestic energy security and green transition targets will force painful trade-offs in capital allocation. Reforms to administrative law and judicial review processes will continue to test the boundaries between executive power and legal oversight. Meanwhile, regional economic devolution plans will test whether central authorities are truly willing to yield fiscal control to local leaders. None of these issues can be neatly solved with a catchy slogan or a rapid press release. They require long-term structural alignment, careful diplomacy between Whitehall and local government, and an honest reckoning with the nation's financial posture. Understanding these quiet mechanisms is not just an academic exercise. It is the only way to remain genuinely informed in a rapidly shifting political environment. When you look beneath the political theatre, you begin to see the true levers of statecraft at work, shaping the everyday economic and social realities of the United Kingdom. Thank you for spending your time with us today on Britain Underneath. Stay informed, stay curious, and make sure to subscribe right now so you never miss our next deep exploration into the machinery of British power. Your support helps this channel thrive, and we look forward to seeing you in the very next video.